Hello, I'm Jerry the Bee. I am making this example on how to use dev tools because it's a issue with Bakkesmod that's just not really explained very well, and I figured I'd do my best. So first thing you're going to want to do is open your properties for Rocket League. I think it also exists on Epic Games, not entirely sure, but you want to do launch options -dev. All right, so now with Bakkesmod working, making sure it's all injected and everything, you can press F6 to pull up the console, and you can type toggle menu DevTools. If you haven't launched with -dev, it'll fail to find the menu and it won't do anything. So now we've got this. Now what this allows us to do is either we'd have a log where we search for functions, maybe with a whitelist of certain words that we're looking for, or a blacklist of words that we're not looking for. And then also a scanner which will scan everything and can give us a sorted list. So for now, I'm just going to, as an example, look for anthems. For someone was looking for this, so let's see if we can find any player anthem related things. So I type in anthem into the whitelist and hit apply. So as you can see, nothing's really happening. There's no anthems, but let's make sure that I have, in my profile, choose player anthem, make sure I have one selected. I have audio off for now, but as you can see, we're getting product attribute anthem TA update additional loaded data. So I guess this means that it's updating what our anthem is. Great. So now let me make sure that I have, just in case, make sure that I have anthem audio on. Great. And the rest of my audio is off for now, just for simplicity. So let me hop into, it's always good to test in online games as well, but just for this example, I'm just going to do an unlimited length 1v1. So we're hopping in to a game. No one here. So here we get two other ones. Reset anthem audio, update anthem sound state. I guess that happened when it reset to nothing. All right, so let's do this. Put it in, and I missed, as you do. Is it going to play the... There you go. Update additional loaded data. So there you go. It is loading the anthem. So now I think that kind of gives us all we're looking for anthems. So now we can save to functions.txt. Now we need to find our functions.txt. And that's as simple as going into your Bakkesmod injector, file, open Bakkesmod folder, and it'll be functions.txt. Here's our functions.txt just opened up in just a notepad. And as you can see, this is just easy to copy and paste them and see how often things happen. So I only scored one goal, yet everything happens, update additional anthem, additional loaded data happens a whole lot more than just one goal. Reset anthem audio happens twice, and update anthem sound state happens 3 times. So that's a little bit challenging, right? You got to think about when this happens, but it looked like reset anthem audio happened at the start of the game and then at each goal, but I can double check that. Next comes a harder part. We have to look at our Bakkesmod Raptors under Bakkesmod, Bakkesmod SDK, include Bakkesmod wrappers. Long title, whatever. But so we are looking for what we found in the notepad here. So we are looking for our any sort of product attribute or Arena Sound Manager related part, because that's the part that comes after TA game. So now that we're looking at it here, let's see, is there anything here? Unfortunately, there's no sound manager under any of these that I can find, which makes sense. You can't, it's not something you normally want to edit. And then anything else here? Nothing really. All right, so let's look for a product attribute. Here we go, product attribute wrapper. So maybe that's what we're looking for, potentially. Although, if you take a look at this, we used the product attribute anthem function was happening far too often. So maybe we should start and look again. This is part of the challenge of using events, is that you have to kind of guess and check, find the next thing. So next, I'm going to go back to the drawing board, and I'm going to look for items. Because an anthem is an item, maybe there's some sort of item load or something like that. So items are called product_TA in the game, and there's a product wrapper, just something I already know. So let us apply that and see if anything happens with product TA. All right. Here we go. A whole bunch of things happened. We got a load asset. We got get attribute. These are all interesting potential things. So let's score a weird number of times. Because see, there's a whole bunch of things going on. Let's score 3 times. All right, so there's 2. Our anthem was loaded the second time there. And wait for the anthem to load again. And 3. Now we can pause, get down to the bottom using the scroll bar, and save. All right, so now we are back in our new functions.txt. I've opened it in Visual Studio Code just because it gives me a better idea on searching. It's a much better option. So now let's see, what do we have here? We have get hash ID. How many times does get hash ID happen? Ooh, that happens 3 times. We scored 3 goals. So this is a pretty interesting idea here. Get ID happens way too much. That's just searching it. Up here, yep, 600 times. That's not going to be useful. Load asset, how about that one? Load asset happens 6 times. That's only double what we need. So that's also pretty interesting. And get attribute. That one happens 12 times, so a little bit more than we want. And then we're back to load asset. We're back to where we started. Okay, so let's try get hash ID. I've made a super quick just test plugin for this. So we've got our Bakkesmod plugin here. We've added this template, which allows you to hook event with caller post with anything. I will post this whole thing. I'll just make a public GitHub for. So you'll be able to use this. And so we've got that. And now I've defined one function, which is onGetHash of the product wrapper caller. So we're in the C++ file. We're going to hook event with caller post. And so our function is productta.getHashID, right? Because that was the one that happened 3 times. And we scored 3 goals. So that should be what we're looking for. Now we are hooking event with the caller product wrapper, because a product TA, if you get rid of the TA and replace it with wrapper, that'll work for pretty much any function in the game. And if there's no wrapper related to it, you're going to have to ask somebody for help. So now we've got caller. So it's hooked with caller, our params, our string event name. Now we're going to log the event name and call our onGetHash function. In onGetHash, which takes product wrapper caller, we're going to make sure, this is a key, hugely important. We are going to make sure that caller is not null. If caller is null, you're just going to crash. The moment you call caller.getLabel or caller.anything, your entire game is going to crash. It's not fun. So just if not caller, just return. Super easy to do. So now, first thing we're going to grab is the label, caller.getLabel. You can look at, by pressing Control-click on product wrapper, you can see all the different lists of different things that you can do with it. I'm going to look at the label. I'm going to get display label slot. Maybe that'll say something like Anthem, something like that. And then I'm also going to take a look at ID. So now we're in here. We're going to get the label. We're going to make sure the label is not null. And the label's an Unreal string wrapper, which is just, it's basically a string. So just call .toString on it to print it out to console in a CVAR manager log. Same with the ID, but you need std.toString to convert that. And then your label slot, get display label slot, is also going to be an Unreal string. Going to null check that. If it's null, we're just going to return. Otherwise, label slot is that. So now, when we're done with this, we're going to press Control B. It's going to build. Oh, mine already built, up to date. And we will be able to hop back into Rocket League. So now we're back in Rocket League, and I've made sure that all audio is muted except for anthems. So it's going to be a little quiet. Hopefully it's not too loud. We are just going to plug in reload, get anthem. Great. So it shows us plugin loaded. Plugin version 1.0.0.3 just means that it took me 3 builds to get it to work. So now let's watch this as we play the game. Oh, there's an incoming JSON. You can ignore that. So we are just going to score a goal. So we're going to wait for the anthem. There it is. So our anthem played, and we can find out it's the overtime theme with an ID of 5719, and it's a player anthem. I actually didn't plan out the label slot thing. I kind of guessed. And that's kind of the thing with Rocket League plugins. A lot of it is going to be guessing what functions do. So I kind of guessed label slot was probably going to say anthem. Turns out it does. So now I can find out when the get hash ID happens, the name of the anthem, the ID of the anthem, and also make sure that it is an anthem. Because getting the hash ID can happen with any item, not just an anthem. And there's a possibility that this fires some other time. So, to conclude, this is how you use the dev tools to hook an event with caller and grab the caller. Unfortunately, there's still more testing that needs to be done, so that it isn't quite as easy as this probably 15-20 minute tutorial. But yeah, so what's left for you as a programmer to do is to test and try different playlists, test online, test casual, test competitive, and make sure that get hash ID only happens when you expect it to, which is when a goal is scored. And also to make sure that that you only have it happening for player anthems, which you can do with a string check against a label slot. If you have any more questions, you can DM me on Discord. I'll have it linked down below.